Hello everyone, this is Evie the Original Master here with this relatively small video for this Saturday. I actually had no plans for uploads this weekend, but I wanted to make this video anyway to talk about something that I have been noticing ever since the release of Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And I know it's not a big deal to most people, but it's something that I want to bring up real quick that I've noticed since Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and that is regarding to the ESRB content description for these past few Mario games or these Mario spin-off titles. So yeah, this is the ESRB content rating for Super Mario Party Jamboree, which is coming out on October 17th of this year. And you'll notice that this game has mild fantasy violence, and this is where I want to talk about the weird content description for these past few Mario games. So ever since Mario Bros. Wonder, all of these later Mario games has been receiving the exact same content description with mild fantasy violence, and I find that really weird is because that none of the Mario games in the past prior to Super Mario Bros. Wonder had the mild fantasy violence content description of the ESRB. It was mostly either comic mischief or mild cartoon violence or just cartoon violence. And then all of a sudden, these later Mario games after Wonder, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, has been receiving the mild fantasy violence ESRB description. Princess Peach Showtime had this. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door on the Switch also had mild fantasy violence, and I was wondering why all of a sudden they're seeing these games as mild fantasy violence. Like, what's so fantasy like about Super Mario Party Jamboree? I understand that it's a Mario Party game, but I don't see anything in the game that resembles fantasy. Like, there isn't like any pixies or like when I hear fantasy, I think of like whimsical things like pixies and stuff like that, but I honestly don't know what makes a game mild fantasy violence or mild cartoon violence, just because I don't work for ESRB. I don't know who's responsible for giving these games the content description of their ESRB ratings, but I just find it so weird that these later Mario games have been receiving the mild fantasy violence treatment, where I'm like, shouldn't this be mild cartoon violence? Like with Paper Mario, for example, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, the original game on the GameCube had mild cartoon violence with an E rating, but on the Switch it has mild fantasy violence. Same with Mario vs. Donkey Kong. The Switch version of that game also has quote unquote mild fantasy violence, and I'm like, oh, okay, like why been the mild cartoon violence? Why isn't that the content description? Like, is the ESRB like retiring mild cartoon violence and replacing it with mild fantasy violence? I just find it so weird that these later Mario games has been receiving mild fantasy violence. But that's all I wanted to address in this video. I know it's nothing too major or anything, but it's just something that I've been noticing, and I just wanted to bring address to it because I find it so weird that all of a sudden these later Mario games, ever since the release of Wonder, has been receiving the mild fantasy violence content description for the ESRB, and I just find that so bizarre. So that's all I wanted to address real quick. If you guys somewhat find this weird, don't be afraid to address it in the comments, but it's something that I've been noticing, and I just wanted to bring awareness to it because I find it weird because none of the past Mario games on the Switch that I know of has gotten the mild fantasy violence ESRB description, but I'm just rambling at this point. So yeah, thank you all for watching this really short video, and I will see you guys next time.